hi, how are you? I hope you guys are having an amazing day today. Hello and welcome to Glowmas. Today's video is one that I am really excited to film because this is my 4th year filming this video, which is kind of crazy. Wait, last time I wore a Carhartt hat, everybody said it looked like a penis. So I'm really trying to make sure that doesn't happen again. It was also in a video that quite literally took, I don't remember exactly what one it was, but it was in a video that took so long to do. It's like an evolution of, it was like a serious video. And I wore this like pink Carhartt hat that literally like when it sticks up, right. So, I'm gonna try to avoid those comments this time, but hi. Anyway, today's video is one that I am really excited to do because I have done it for 4 years in a row now. Well, this will be my 4th year, and I love videos like this. It's kind of crazy to think about like where I was during the first Glowmas and where I am now, and just like the fact that these videos, there are certain ones that just stay strong and stay true and like keep it pushing is wild. Today, we are going to be acting as if YouTube is a high school. So typically in a high school, when you're a senior usually, or sometimes I guess they do it for underclassmen, it depends on the school, but there's a list of categories that your classmates vote on, and then you get put in like different categories. So like my school, I won most musical my senior year because I was in all the shows and all the plays and stuff, but we had categories like best smile, all around good guy, like most school spirit, we had stuff like that. But some schools, my sister's school, because we went to different high schools, basically just made up new superlatives every year that would fit the seniors the best, which I personally think is the way to go. But anyway, today we are going to be giving out superlatives to different YouTubers based on how they've acted and been during the year of 2021. So if you're interested in that and you're interested in hearing my takes on this, keep watching this video. And also I'm gonna link the list of superlatives that I pulled from because Shutterfly has a list of like 100. So I just pulled stuff off of that. They're the most popular yearbook superlatives. So let me know down below if there's someone that you think fits in a category, just let me know. So for the very first category, I wanted to start off on a positive note because some superlatives are positive, and I did the most likely to succeed category. Now for this category, I decided to pick someone who is a YouTuber technically, but I think also is a lot more famous on apps like TikTok and things like that, but that is JoJo Siwa. JoJo Siwa came out as part of the LGBTQIA+ community, and she has just been thriving. She was literally like, she's like taking over the world right now, I feel. She took off her JoJo bow and now all of a sudden she's literally everywhere. She recently just finished in 2nd place on Dancing with the Stars, and she was actually the first contestant ever to be a part of a same-sex couple on the dance floor, which is just like a huge milestone and like a huge accomplishment, a huge achievement. I feel like she just keeps doing more and more and more. She recently started a show with HBO Max that's all about her and her mom putting together this like tween pop group. She's all over TikTok, all over the news, always doing something big, always making big moves. And I think now, honestly, JoJo Siwa, frankly, she's already succeeded. She's like a literal multi-millionaire because she sold like a bunch of bows. So it's not that she's not already successful. I think the reason her success was so noticeable to me this year was really just because I feel like this was the year where her success started becoming a lot more mainstream. And on top of that, I think that now that she's getting a little bit older and she is maturing a little bit and she's sort of like growing into herself and who she is, like she doesn't need to be keeping up with appearances for her child audience anymore. She's evolved a little bit and been able to grow into sort of a person who is her own age and not have to act sort of a little bit more childish at times just to protect her brand. It's been really cool to see her taking on more adult projects like Dancing with the Stars, and it's been amazing to see her succeed and be so successful this year. So I think that the year of 2022 is going to be the JoJo Siwa year. Like I think she's going to continue taking over. I think she's going to continue thriving and continue working on projects that are just just going to get bigger and bigger. Honestly, JoJo Siwa used to get a lot of hate. There was a time on the internet especially where she was getting like a ton of hate, basically just because she acted kind of childlike and she had a really bad hairline because she always wore her hair in these tight ponytails. And like, I don't know, I always felt like that was low-key unjustified. Like, she basically was just playing the part. Like, she was playing the role. She had a role to play. It's not unlike many other Disney actors and actresses that we saw when like I was growing up. Like, I was growing up thinking that Miley Cyrus actually acted like Miley Stewart in real life because that's sort of the image she portrays. At the end of the day, she was just doing her job. And I think it's really cool now that she doesn't have to do her job like that she can be her more authentic self, not have to deal with that hatred, and can like show a more mature side of herself. But also, I think a lot of the hate she got was just like super unfair and unwarranted. So anyway, I love JoJo Siwa. I think she's fantastic. I think she's a great role model for kids. I think she's a great role model for adults. I really enjoy her content on TikTok, and I hope that she keeps thriving. I hope that she keeps doing like awesome stuff that's like very different from what she did before. I feel like she has a lot to offer the world of entertainment, despite what some people might think, and I'm glad that she's like getting into that more, and I'm glad she's sort of growing and expanding in all different facets of entertainment. Okay, next, another positive. I promise we'll get shady in a minute. I just wanted to be happy for a minute. The next superlative I picked was Cutest Couple, and again, they are a YouTube couple, but I think they're more popular on TikTok, but I just had to put these two in a video because I have been obsessed with them this year, and that is Chris and Ian. They have a couples channel where they post a bunch of different stuff, funny videos, Q&As, like talking about stuff, but they got really popular and grew a following off of TikTok. You've probably seen one of their videos because I know that they circulate on Twitter, they circulate on Facebook. They're really popular for Chris kind of unknowingly filming his boyfriend Ian and him just like popping off on him. I think the reason I love Ian so much, I love Chris too because I think I am much more like Chris. Like, I think I am the Chris in my relationship. But I think one of the biggest reasons that I also love Ian is that he really reminds me of one of my best friends named David, who is just like super sassy, always has a good comeback, is super witty, and like even if a camera is not on him, acts just as extra and like himself all the time as he would with a camera on him. I also think it's dope that Ian is like a former performer and backup dancer for like really famous people. I love when Chris is able to get more vulnerable and talk about like his sobriety and his struggles with mental health. Like, I always think that's amazing. And I think the two of them together make just a really beautiful bond. Like, they just have a great sort of relationship as a couple. I was low-key worried about them for a second, not because I thought they were doing anything wrong, but I was low-key worried because I know that sometimes when the internet gets a hold of a relationship, they can turn it very toxic, and people were starting to do that with their relationship. Like, the two of them would post a video where like Chris played a joke on Ian, and everyone would be like, oh my god, that's so mean. You can tell Ian's gonna break up with him. You can tell Ian like hates him and has problems with him. And you could tell that it was starting to wear a little bit on their relationship. Like, they stopped posting so much together and started posting more individually, and now they occasionally post together. I would wager that that's less to do with like the actual pranks affecting them and more to do with the comments and people getting so invested in their relationship affecting them. But regardless, I think they're adorable. They're such a cute couple. They seem so happy together, and I've just loved watching them this past year. Like, every time one of their videos, either one of them, like if it's just a Chris video, an Ian video, or both of them, anytime it comes up on my For You page or anytime I see their videos on YouTube, I always watch them because they just put me in such a good mood because they're both just positive and like genuinely hysterical human beings. And I love them. So that was my pick for Cutest Couple. Okay, the next one we have, this is a real superlative, was most likely to survive the Hunger Games. And for this, I picked David Dobrik. I don't think this is a surprise to anyone. I feel like David Dobrik is the obvious pick for most likely to win or survive the Hunger Games. Number one, I don't even mean in like a physical sense. Like, he's not killing anyone. He's like outsmarting and like low-key manipulating everybody until he like makes it to the end of the games, because I feel like that is high-key his thing, his vibe, his whatever. This year we saw David Dobrik get pretty rightfully held accountable for a lot of his past actions in videos. We saw him get held accountable for a lot of situations that he played a direct role in, where there were active victims because of things that he did. And despite all of that, it seems that he has really just been able to survive. Like, he's just been able to keep it moving and keep going. He still gets massive brand deals. He still works with tons of brands. He's still starting a bunch of his own brands. He still gets tons of views on videos. It seems like all of that was basically forgotten about for the most part in the eyes of like the fan base. I've said this before and I'll say it again. I think that David Dobrik is the Gen Z version of Shane Dawson. Like, I think a lot of the people who are watching him now, who are like 15, 16, 14, the teen years, I guess you could say, I think a lot of the people who watch him now are going to look back and like cringe at the fact that they used to find that content entertaining and think that it was good, because it's just so, I don't know if offensive is the right word, especially his past content. I think people are really going to look back at that and be like, why did we ever think that was funny? Why did we ever laugh at that? Like, it's obviously fucked up. Personally, I think David would win the Hunger Games by like charming the sponsors and getting them to send him a bunch of cool stuff. He's also kind of like crazy when it comes to weapons. Like, he owns a flamethrower already, so if he could get someone to send him a flamethrower, I could see him just like running through the woods of the Hunger Games arena, lighting people on fire like a madman. Like, I could totally see that happening. I could also see him getting ingredients to like mix up a concoction that would like blow up his opponents, because he's like almost done that. So yeah, definitely most likely to win the Hunger Games out of YouTube would be David Dobrik, because he basically already did. He like played the sort of canceled games, if you want to call them that, and he won. Like, he survived and he is still thriving. So I put him there. It's not a good thing. Want to make that clear. It's not a good thing. Okay, the next superlative was the biggest gossip. And for this category, I picked Tana Mongeau. I will say, I think for the most part, Tana Mongeau, I don't know if I'm missing anything, but I feel like she's stayed out of a lot of scandals this year, like for the most part. I don't remember her being in anything too big or crazy. I know last year she was, but this year not really. More so this year, she just is like the biggest shit stirrer on the planet. And like, honestly, it's all really harmless stuff that she's a shit stirrer about. So it's not even stuff that bothers me too much. Like, she just like gets really involved in other people's relationships and like talks shit about it. She actively uses her podcast to like talk a crazy amount of shit about the Ace family. I wish it was for the stuff that like they actually did wrong, like exploiting their children, but like at least she's calling them out a little bit. She has like an ongoing beef with Austin McBroom. Listening to her podcast, I listened to it for a while when I was doing my video on YouTube or podcast. I listened to a lot of the episodes, and listening to her podcast is like listening to like friends at a sleepover when I was a senior in high school, where everybody's just gossiping about everybody else. Like, she has no qualms with calling people out by name. She has no problem putting people on blast. She has no problem just speaking exactly what she thinks and how she feels about things. Honestly, I think that would put her in the biggest gossip category. I also feel like, from one nosy bitch to another, I do feel like Tana Mongeau actively seeks out tea on other people and like wants to know all the drama and like wants to be in it and like wants to have all the tea about everybody. And she definitely does. Like, you can tell just by the way she talks about everything. There are influencers that have like 10 million followers that I've literally never heard of, but Tana Mongeau has, and she knows every person that they've ever hooked up with, and also like favorite shot at the bar. Like, she knows everything about everyone in the influencer space, especially the LA influencer space. So yeah, biggest gossip, like 10,000% biggest gossip would be Tana Mongeau. Okay, next we have the beauty and the brains category, and for this one, I put Miss Nikki Tutorials. I really love what Nikki has done with her platform this year, and again, it's really cool to see a YouTuber. I always root for YouTubers when they're able to transcend YouTube and go into more like mainstream media. Nikki hosted a bunch of television shows. She was one of the hosts of Eurovision. She met with leaders at the United Nations. Like, she's just been really able to utilize her platform to speak on issues that matter to her, and a lot of it is advocating for trans issues, which I think is just such a wonderful thing. I think if we flash back to last year in 2020 when Nikki shared that she was trans, thinking back to kind of the like fear and anxiety that she expressed feeling in that video because she just like didn't know how it was gonna go, and then the parallels of seeing her now just like thrive and use her sort of power and influence audience to promote things that she cares about. It's just been so cool. Also, I watched her YouTube Red show, which to be fair was released at the end of 2020, but I watched it in 2021, watched her YouTube Red show and saw just like a very different side to her. It was very cool to get to see that side to her, and also showed me how not only smart she is in business, but also just smart about life. Like, I feel like she has a lot of wisdom. Also, she's drop dead gorgeous. She literally, the Met Gala look, are you kidding? Like, that Met Gala look was everything. It was so stunning. Her makeup always looks immaculate. The way that she styles herself is incredible. I love her sense of fashion. I love her taste in jewelry. I love her taste in basically everything. So I think she deserves Beauty and the Brains superlative this year, like 1000%. She's just great. I love her. It's been so good to watch her like thrive this past year. Okay, the next superlative category was the biggest drama king or queen. This one was a little bit easier. I had to say Trisha Paytas. I feel like I didn't realize how much drama Trisha Paytas was at sort of the epicenter of this year until I looked back at my year, and like it was like almost like a drama in review. I like looked back at the year and I was like, holy shit, Trisha was really in like all of this. Like, Trisha was in everything. I think it's because this year Trisha had arguably one of their biggest platforms with the Frenemies podcast. So they were really able to broadcast to a really large audience all of their grievances and like air out all of the problems they had with people, and like really just kind of go after anybody they wanted to, and they did. And sometimes it was correct, like with the David Dobrik stuff, the James Charles stuff, all of that, even the Shane stuff. Like, I talked about my mixed feelings on that, but a lot of times it wasn't. And also, I think when Frenemies ultimately ended, that was another huge like dramatic situation. And same thing with the Gabby Hanna stuff. Trisha Paytas was also involved in that, and again, it was just so dramatic, like on both ends, but it was just so dramatic on Trisha's end. I think it's hard too, because I know that Trisha deeply struggles with mental health issues and mental illness, and I sympathize with that. Like, I try to sympathize with that, but I also just think that with the platform that they have been given, I think that it's really, really hard to not talk about the way that they actively hurt marginalized groups. You can't just like overlook that because somebody has mental health issues, because at the end of the day, even though they struggle with those things, they still are spewing a lot of hate speech and a lot of really negative things, negative stereotypes, just negativity in general. They're still talking about that to their millions and millions and millions of followers, and that still has detrimental impacts on those groups of people and causes those groups of people lots of pain. So just because you have those mental health issues doesn't mean you can go around saying whatever you want without any repercussions. I also think just in general, like even not in a negative way, I think Trisha's just obviously a very dramatic person. Like, I watched their closet tour with, I think it was Insider did a closet tour with them. Their closet is fucking, like they literally have a Windex bottle bedazzled just sitting in their closet. Like, their closet tour was absolutely the most dramatic, insane thing I've ever seen. And same thing with their wedding. They got married recently to Moses. Very dramatic, like all the drama, black wedding dress. So I think just in general, Trisha's a very dramatic person on like both ends of the spectrum, in like the very extra dramatic way and in the sort of negative dramatic way. Does that make sense? Okay, next we have the most likely to leave and never come back. And personally, and I don't mean this in a negative way, let me explain. I personally think Gabby Hanna fits really well into this category. She deleted all of her old videos off of her channels, and now her channel is really just a music channel, basically. Like, she just uses it to promote and share her music. And it seems like she has mostly left the internet as sort of a YouTuber. I don't think that's a bad thing. Like, I don't think it's a bad thing that she's just like focusing on her music now and like doing her own thing. Like, I don't think that's bad. I honestly think that's probably good for her. Despite everything that she's done and everything that's happened, and even though I know I've spoken negatively about her, I think at the end of the day, the internet was not a good place for her. Like, I talked about that actually when I covered her series, and I covered, you know, everything that happened with her this past year. I've made a couple videos on it, but I talked about all of this where I said, like, the internet's not for everybody. And it seems like she is just not the type of person who handles this type of pressure and this type of job well. So like, if it's causing her this much distress, it might be a good idea to kind of just bow out of that lifestyle, bow out of this really crazy influencer life. And it seems like she's kind of done that. And I think that's a positive thing. Like, I'm not saying I hope she never comes back to the internet because I'm like, ooh, you know, fuck her. Like, I'm not her biggest fan. I don't really like her. But at the same time, I'm more glad that she's not coming back to the internet as a YouTuber, simply because I don't think it makes her happy. And she herself has said it doesn't make her happy. And also it obviously causes her this like intense distress. So I'm gonna put Gabby in that category, but again, I don't necessarily mean it in a negative way. I do think after everything that she's kind of done and a lot of the hurt that she's caused, I am of the opinion that having a platform is like not really appropriate anymore given what she's done. However, I also think for her own mental health and her own well-being, I think that leaving the internet and sort of just focusing on what she obviously loves doing, which is creating music, is a good thing. And also, might be an unpopular opinion, but some of her new music is actually not bad. I've listened to like sound bites on TikTok. I've heard bits and pieces. It's not bad. Like, the music's not terrible. I'm not gonna listen to it, but I have no interest in supporting her financially through streams. And also on top of that, I just like, it's not my style, but it doesn't sound terrible. It seems like she's doing what is best for her. And I hope that she continues to do that and just kind of continues to stay in her own lane. Okay, this one. Okay, I knew when I wrote this that this was shady, so I wasn't even sure if I should say this one. Hannah, you might cut this out. Most likely to win the lottery but lose the ticket. I put creep show art. This might be shady. Okay, let's just talk about it. The thing about creep show art and the creep show art situation, because that was obviously like a massive thing that happened this year, was the creep show art situation. Like, I don't think we've ever really seen anything like that happen before. And it's honestly a hard subject for me to talk about even still, just because like I did consider myself friendly with her and like I had talked to her about some personal stuff and like thought I knew her. And so it's still hard for me to like wrap my head around and talk about even all these months later, because it just felt like it came so out of left field, everything that came out about her. I put her in this category mostly because I feel like as far as commentary YouTube goes, for a while there, she was like one of the top ones, especially in like the art commentary community. Like, even if people didn't like her content, they still knew who she was and they like knew of her and had an opinion about her. And she had a pretty dedicated, loyal fan base. And on top of that, she had a lot of really great friends. Like, not just me, like I wouldn't even say that we were like besties. We weren't like friends, but like she had Ready to Glare as like one of her best friends. That is so lucky. Ready to Glare, like, she's an amazing person. So to like have those friendships and have this community that you've built, and then to screw it all up by playing like really stupid gross mind games to the ex of your husband, doing all of these disgusting things to her, and then on top of that going on lolcow and just like shit posting your friends and shit posting yourself or like boosting yourself up. Like, a lot of it was just so out of left field and random and felt like it didn't make any sense, because she kind of had it made. Like, she was probably making really good money doing what she was doing. She was very well respected. People really liked her. There were definitely criticisms of Shannon, but I think that at the end of the day, ultimately, she was like doing well. And she just like couldn't not do all of this crazy, ridiculous bullshit behind the scenes. And ultimately, she lost all of that. Like, she lost the most percentage of subscribers, I think, in YouTube history, I saw somewhere. And on top of that, she lost so much trust from the community that ultimately was like building her up in the first place. She didn't take any effort into solving or rectifying any of that. And even now, I still low-key think eventually she'll come back, and I do think eventually she'll try to like make a case for herself and like talk about things. And I don't know if like I'm gonna really want to listen to that anymore, because it's one of those things where like once that trust is gone, this isn't just like a scandal of like something came out about her past that was like little. This is like questioning the entire personality of this person. And like, I don't think a lot of people can anymore. I know I can't, and it sucks. It's so sad. So I think she really did have sort of this winning lottery ticket, and that she was a really successful commentary channel here on YouTube and was like making very good money doing that. It was all just kind of a lie. Like, she lost the ticket. It was just a lie. So yeah. Okay, next we have most changed, and for this category, I chose Emma Chamberlain. I feel like Emma Chamberlain has been on a journey this year, and I love it. She has drastically changed her style of content to where it used to be very chaotic, jump cuts, craziness, like all of this back and forth, just like you never really knew what you were gonna get. It was always just kind of like this random whatever she was doing that day. And she still has a little bit of that chaotic energy in her videos, but a lot of them now are just so much more chill. Like they all have these wonderful chill hop montages. It's her just like drawing or cooking or hanging out at her house and just like being chill, her just like playing her drum set. She's really just like matured and chilled out as a person, and as someone who was kind of aging out of her old content. I think I started watching her when I was like 23, and I really loved her old content, but as I got older it was just like a little chaotic for me. I know it's only 3 years, but that 3 years feels a fuck ton of a lot longer. Her content just started like fading a little bit for me. Like I wasn't as into her as I once was, just because it like wasn't my type of humor. But now I put on her vlogs literally just to relax, just to take a breather, just to regroup and like reorganize my life a little bit. Like her vlogs now are just so simple and peaceful, and she still has the most wonderful energy, and she still is very relatable and authentic, but now it's just a lot more calm. I think one of the things I love about Emma Chamberlain is the fact that she is always evolving and always setting sort of new trends, especially in the editing space. I know she has an editor now, but especially back when she was doing all of her own editing, she really did popularize a certain style of editing and vlogging that became like super, super overdone. Not that she invented the Ken Burns, but like, you know what I mean? She popularized that style, and at a time it almost felt like it was annoying to even watch her content because like everyone was doing it. So she's changed and she's pivoted, and now she's doing something else that is like not really what you see other people doing as much. Like it's just way more chill and calm and low key, especially someone her age doing that style of vlogging. Like you don't really see that in her demographic of vloggers. And I have a feeling that as we go on, we're gonna see even more people sort of hop onto this new editing trend. So I think her biggest sort of, not superpower, but her biggest like benefit on YouTube is that she's constantly evolving and changing her content, which I think is great. So definitely most changed this year goes to Miss Emma. Also, she's so pretty. I swear to God, all of her outfits, all of her looks. I could also put her in the best dressed category. Best dressed is next. I high key could also put Emma Chamberlain. I feel like she's always, any like pictures I see of her, they're always so like high editorial, high fashion, but then her streetwear is also like so good. Like I just love everything about her style. It's incredible. However, for best dressed, I actually picked Jackie Aina this year, and there's a very specific reason. In my opinion, Jackie Aina has always been very fashion forward, stylish, just always has amazing style, amazing pieces. However, I recently started following her on TikTok. Follow Jackie on TikTok if you love like the sort of bougie stuff and you also love just like beautiful things. Her style is so in line with my own. If I had the money she had, I would buy the same exact things. Like her style is so unmatched. And what I love about it so much is that it is still very much on trend and very much what you're seeing other people wearing, but she elevates everything that she wears and every outfit that she wears. And I just think it ends up being this super creative, stunning, cohesive style. Let's not even talk about her freaking accessories. Are you kidding? She just got this Dior bag that is like all shards of like mirrors connecting one together. I'll put up a picture here. It's all shards of mirrors and it's like, it looks like it could kill someone. It's stunning. It's so beautiful, and she has tons of stuff like that, just like really unique and beautiful purses and shoes and pieces like that. I absolutely love how true to her own personal style she is, and I get so inspired when I see her looks and when I see like the handbags she has and stuff like that, because they're all just so beautiful and well curated and stunning. Also on top of that, I love her sense of home decor. She always picks the most like that I would literally never think to put together, but like she does it. I love the TikToks where she talks about her home or like shows little bits and pieces of her home. Absolutely stunning. So for me this year, Jackie Aina just absolutely crushed every single look. Like she just looks stunning the entire year. Next we have the most likely to go to Mars. This again was a real superlative, and that would be Mr.Beast. I mean, he's gonna do a video on the moon soon. I'm like positive that in my lifetime I will see a title that says like $1 million race on the moon. Like I'm positive that that man is going to space. I would, if there's any YouTuber that is going to space, it's Mr.Beast. Like he is going to go into space at one point. You cannot tell me otherwise. I would wouldn't be surprised if there's already talks about him taking one of those freaking millionaire missiles into the sky. Like, I am positive that he is going to be going up into space at some point in time. Not a doubt in my mind. I think you could put Mr.Beast in a lot of these categories, like most likely to succeed, most likely to survive the Hunger Games, but that's because he like basically already has. He's just one of those YouTubers that is always 10 million steps ahead of other creators in terms of like quality of content. I made a video last year where I did criticize a lot of his content, and I still stand by those criticisms. Like, I don't think making people poop outside of a Tesla window to win a car and like dehumanizing people to win money is like the way to go. However, you can't knock his quality of content. Like, he did a Squid Games video, which a ton of influencers have tried to do Squid Games videos. Like, James Charles did it, the Try Guys did it, like tons of people tried. No one was as successful at recreating it than Mr.Beast. That video was incredible, like truly just awesome. Like, he really crushed it with that video, from the sets to the people that he picked to the twists that they kind of had in it. Like, unreal, out of this world, incredible video. It deserved all of the hype it got. It was like a genuinely amazing video, and I can't really think of any other YouTubers that are like on that same level as him when it comes to these like massive, huge productions. Like, he literally said that that video cost him, I think it was $3 or $4 million to make. Can you imagine any other YouTuber, regardless of how much they could make from it, can you imagine any other YouTuber putting $3 or $4 million into a YouTube video just for one video? It was like a 23-minute video. Can you imagine any other YouTuber doing that? Nobody is on the same sort of caliber and level as he is. And that's why if there is a YouTuber that's going to space, it's Mr.Beast. Just my opinion. And with that, I leave you. That was my superlative list. Again, I'm gonna leave the superlative list I pulled from down below. Let me know if you think anybody fits into any of those categories. I would love to see it. There was a superlative that said most likely to have a child born with a Starbucks addiction, and I did almost put myself, but I felt like that would be too meta, so I did not. But before people see it and comment it, I know, I agree. I love you guys so much. I hope you like this video. Again, let me know down below what you think of my picks and tell me your own. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, or just like, or just subscribe, or do neither. I'm honestly just so happy you're here watching me. Thank you so much for being here, like truly. Thank you for being here. My merch, including my new limited edition Glomus merch, my social medias, and my vlog and podcast channel, where I am uploading every single day in the month of December, will be linked down below, along with my social justice spotlight that has some links and information of ways that you can give back this holiday season. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!